Are you ready to become awesomer? Hello, everyone. My name is Umar. I'm your host on the No Limit Selling podcast, where industry leaders share their tips, strategy, and advice on how you can become better, stronger, faster. Just before we get started, I've got a question for you. Do you have a negative voice inside your head? We all do, right? I'm going to help you remove that voice in under 30 days guaranteed. Not only remove it, but transform it. So instead of the voice that sabotages you, there's one that propels you to much higher levels of performance and success. There's a link in the show notes. Click on it to find out more. All right, let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the No Limit Selling podcast. Today we have Nick here. I'm not going to screw up his name. Nick, help me with the pronunciation.
Funditis.
I mean, for marketing, that's got to be like kick-ass amazing. If you want fun, I'm your guy.
Yeah. Well, and if you Google it, it's there's only 2 Nick Funditises in the world, and there's only about 50 Funditises, period, in the world.
Is it like a Greek name?
Way back down the line it is, although through the Ukraine. So it's been through about 3 alphabets.
That would do it. So, Nick, you've been in the real estate business for how long?
For a decade now.
Excellent. So what I wanted to do today, Nick, is for you and I to solve all the problems in the real estate industry and to start solving those. What would be, for agents to be successful in this industry, what would be 3 things that, most agents get wrong that we should take a deeper look at?
I think that a lot don't treat it like a business. They treat it like a job. And there's an important distinction there. I think that the business has different hats that you have to put on. So there's the sales and marketing, there's your operations hat, and then there's your clerical and financial. And I think that people go out there and think they're just going to serve clients or they're just going to generate leads, but you have to do all those things. So I'd say that's one thing for sure.
Yeah, so let's pause there for a second, because absolutely, I think most agents do not get a P&L statement every month. Because it's like at the end of the year, oh, what are we doing? How do we do? Because they know how many transactions they did. But the question is, did you actually make money? And so I think treating it like a business is critical. And just knowing where you're at. I was talking to an agent the other day. He was coaching a newer agent, and they were splitting commissions for certain deals. And it turned out that the split they did resulted in them losing 10% on each transaction.
Oh, geez.
Which they didn't know till they did the P&L. And it was their coach that guided them there. And it's like, oh my God, I got to renegotiate all this stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to go bankrupt. So absolutely treating it like a business and not a job. And I think one of the things when people come into this industry is like, oh my God, I'm going to have flexible time. It's on my terms. And it's like, no, you could do that if you want to starve. But if you treat it like a business, be busy when you need to be and take time off when, the time is right. But treat it like a business, and that's how you actually create wealth. What's number 2?
Number 2, for me anyways, it was documenting my systems. So that allows me to do it the same way every time. So for one part of that is to deliver consistent service to our clients and to vendors, everybody like that, and not miss anything. The second thing that does is it allows me to replace myself in certain areas. So if there's an area that's not my highest and best use, I can teach someone to do that. It's well documented, and we know that that part of the business is going to get run correctly.
Absolutely. I think one of the other parts that, because I think the phrase you used was not just have systems, document them. And I think that's critical. And you could be at a conference and you got somebody on stage that says, this is what I do. And you're like, if you got your system documented, it's like, oh, maybe I need to change step 3 and it would make it better. And so systems need to be living and breathing. And one of the ways to do that consistently and effectively is to do an autopsy after each deal, get the team together and go, oh, this turned out really, really well. What happened? Did something different happen? Is this something we need to add to our process? And if things went sideways, what went sideways and how did that happen? And I think if we can do that without blame, it's a magical thing for a team.
Yeah, I can say, I can point to an exact example where it really saved us in the last year. So I had a team admin, and she was a jack of all trades, or a Jill of all trades. So she was had her hands in marketing and operations and client service, transaction coordination, but she had to go on medical leave suddenly. So we knew we were going to be gone without her for at least 3 months. And when she got back, or sorry, in the meantime, while she was gone, I was scrambling a little bit. I found someone who was going to, at one point, she was going to be a buyer agent for us, but
Hmm.
she decided that she was not going to be. She saw what we did basically, and she said, "I don't think I'm cut out for real estate." She saw how busy we kind of were. So, but we loved her, and we said, Laura, could you jump in here to be our admin for the next 3 months? Because schedule wise, she had the time, and she did. And our the thing that saved us was that Stephanie, who was off for the 3 months there, she had documented her processes so well, and we had built that culture of documenting everything that you do. Whereas I could hear from the desk next to me, or I could hear through the wall in our other office, just Laura listening to Steph's voice, where Laura had recorded video, like screen
Love
capture of her
it.
of doing stuff. So I knew
Bravo.
that things were done correctly. So it freed me up to actually serve clients.
Superb. And I think that's brilliant. So, document systems, treat it like a business. Number three.
Number three is go from a place of service in everything that you do. So every touch point we're trying to design, our brand or our positioning is Ottawa's people first realtor. And so with everything that we might have a touch point with a client, we say, how can we do this to make their experience a little bit better? Because we want to continue to work principally by referral. We want to have those repeat clients. And so I think a trap that people can fall into is that you can get addicted to like lead generation systems, like having internet
Mm.
leads or something like that, where it's new people coming into your system all the time. But there's so much longevity for your business if you build that repeat and referral system so that you are always nurturing. And the way you do that is from coming from a position of trying to to give generously.
Absolutely. I think putting it so slightly a different way, it's our intent, no matter what we do, is so critical because we all have an antennae that can pick up stuff. It's like, Nick, what do you want? Because I can tell when you're needy, even though it doesn't look it. And I think also it kind of informs us as we behave if we set our intent before we go in to do something. So if I was calling up a client before I pick up the phone, I'd say, my intent today is to really figure out how John's doing and how his kids are doing, and I want him to feel valued. And as soon as I get on the phone doing that, that's what I deliver wholeheartedly. If my intent is, he'll say, "Hey, Umar, what are you doing?" And I can tell him, "Oh, I'm in real estate. I need this." It just does not work. So, talk to me about intent. And, as you've been in business, where you've picked up intent that was noble, and maybe a time where you kind of picked up a vibe that didn't feel
Yeah. And
comfortable.
so you can feel it when, like, when you're on the receiving end, and a vendor calls you, or somebody cold reaches out to you. As realtors, we get so many of those cold outreach to us from lead generation companies and stuff like that. And it just, you can from the first call, it just makes your hackles go up, because that person wants something for themselves. They're not out there to serve. They're not out there to make the client's life better, whether that's me or like our real estate clients. And but you can also tell when you talk to somebody who is out there to help. You can, like you said, you can hear it. And when we go out, we like with our buyer agents, I try and say, have a reason to call. The call doesn't need to be, and it generally shouldn't be most of the time, and ask, are you thinking about buying or selling a home? Do you know someone who does? If someone wants to talk to you about real estate, they know you're in real estate. They know, and it's okay to ask for a referral. I'm not saying that, but let's have a reason when we go touch the people that we know, have a reason to serve them. So if it's somebody from our past client, do we have an event we can invite them to? This month, my email out to our whole database was, "Hey, I have a favor to ask." But the favor was, I want I would like
Hmm.
to know who your go-to tradesperson is. Like we had a list of contractors, and I said, and
Right.
what we're going to
Brilliant.
do is take all that information and turn it into a directory just for our clients that we can send back out. And the response we got was great, and we're it looks like we are going to do a few sales out of it as well, just off this outreach. And that was something that we thought about when we did it. But the main intent, we had to go out there and be okay. What can we give? I mean, we were asking for the names and numbers of tradespeople, but it was so that we could give something more valuable back.
Absolutely. Because I think realtors really can be resources in the community. I was talking to one of the Keller Williams folks here in Ontario, and they also happen to have they own Keller Williams in Poland. So when the war with Ukraine was happening, their agents were going to the border and picking up refugees and bringing them down in houses that weren't selling. They were placing them there. This is all goodness of heart making a difference. And it could be that, or it could be what you're doing, Nick, which is like a kick ass, amazing list of resources that someone can say, hey, Nick, something happened with my roof. Who should I call? The first call should be the realtor because that's brilliant.
Yeah, like it's something that has worked well over the career so far. I have found that it's more comfortable for me to work that way. I like who I am when I'm going out and serving, and I know that clients like it. And our team has made just some wonderful relationships with clients through that kind of attitude.
Brilliant. One of the things I wanted to add to your list of things that are missing in real estate. Number four for us. So you had treat it like a business, document your systems, come from a place of service. I'm going to add
Sure.
consistency, the ability to just keep on doing. So talk to me about how you become consistent, and more importantly, how you encourage your the team that you're leading to be
Sure.
consistent.
So the way the way that we do that, it comes from systems, and we build consistency into our systems and into our teams. So where I'm at in my business, so I went from being a solo realtor in 2012 to having an admin,
Mhm.
and the admin was to take a lot of like the administrative type tasks that weren't money making tasks off my plate so that I could focus on serving clients and lead generating. And then, but still, at any stage where you don't have a lot of systems, you can fall prey to kind of like the random acts of marketing where you might try sending out one set of
Mm.
postcards or do a round of calls, and it doesn't really get you the results, or get the results for your clients if you're doing a listing, of doing consistent, focused effort. So what I've been building year after year is okay. So now we have two admins. We have one who is marketing, and we have one who is a transaction and listing coordinator, and we set out what they are doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have systems and triggers. A lot of it is through our Follow Up Boss CRM that we've programmed in to say, okay, at this stage in the
Mhm.
listing, you get an automatic email that goes out to these members of the team, and it tells them exactly what they need to do next. For example, our transaction coordinator, okay, the listing has gone conditional, or it's gone firm. You need to contact the lawyer. Here's the template for your lawyer email. Here's what they need to know. Here's what documents they need. And we're just not missing anything. On the sales and marketing side, having a having a marketing specialist where I can take my vision for what we want, how we want to market to our clients, and we have an integrator and someone who can implement that gives consistency as well. So we know that there's a cadence to our marketing, that people are regularly being touched. We're having this, they can depend on our newsletter or our e-blast to come out on a certain day. And as a marketer, like Seth Godin would say, it becomes relevant and expected kind of permission marketing.
Absolutely. So as you kind of look at, your performance and leading your team, where are areas that you're working on
That
you
I'm
to be
working on
better?
me to be better. Um, I'm working on me to. I'm always working on walking the talk. So like I have my expectations of my team, and I need to. I'm continually trying to make sure that I am also doing my prospecting alongside the team, so that I'm accountable to
Mm.
our Wednesday sales meetings as well between our sales team, to so that I'm on the scoreboard for having made my calls just as much as they are. Uh, balancing my balancing personal life. So I'm married and I have two young boys. There's Jack's 8 and Aaron's 6, and just making sure that I am conscientiously blocking out time where I know that I will be off work and present with them. And just, yeah.
Right. That's huge.
And then I guess it'd be similar, like
Brilliant. That makes
things like fitness and things like that too. So it's not all business, but it's the things that kind of make everything run in life and make it worthwhile.
so here's a hypothesis, and I'd love to get your feedback on it. I was talking to 100
Mm-hmm.
realtors is where it started. And we were talking about fear getting in the way of us executing. And it could be fear gets in the way of prospecting, or some agents don't ask for referrals because they got some mental hang up around it, or they don't do it consistently. There's usually one area of the sales process where there's fear or anxiety comes up. So we kind of
Mm-hmm.
shy away from that. So I'd ask them, if you were fearless in that area, how many more transactions would you do a month? And the average that came out was two extra transactions per month if I was bolder in whatever that area is. Does that sound like a fear number, do
I
you
think that
think?
sounds totally fair. And I think for most agents, that would be like a life changing amount of transactions for their business. If they're doing
Yeah.
24 more transactions a year, I mean, 24 is a lot more than, I mean, it's way more than the average realtor is doing in a year, right? 24. So to have 24 additional for even the highest performing realtor, it would be amazing to do that.
Like in Burlington, Ontario, the math worked out to about $323,000 extra in the agent's pocket. And when I was in Manhattan, because the numbers
Mm-hmm.
are so much higher there, it was $1.2
Yeah,
million.
that changes your life. Absolutely.
And so at the heart of who we are is where we hold our beliefs, and usually there's a belief around our ability to do X, or and so that's kind of where we focused our attention on, is very much how do we go in and change beliefs to get people to break through and start living better lives, because it's not just you, Nick, or me. It's when we shine, we give permission to people around us to do the same. It's when we live smaller lives. See, we don't just impact us, we impact all the people around us, because people don't care what we say, they see what we do. And it's like, oh, Umar's settling, so
Yeah,
maybe it's okay for me too.
I agree with that 100%.
So, two last things before we go, Nick. Number one, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten to be a better team leader or to be a better agent in
Uh,
your career?
so to be a better agent, the best piece of advice was actually just before I signed on with my brokerage. So I'm with Royal LePage Performance in Ottawa. Our broker, Russ Perkins, who's still there, he said, there's going to be a lot of different systems that you're introduced to. So some people, there's lots of different ways you can make money in real estate. You can be someone who follows internet leads. You can go kind of the Brian Buffini way with repeat and referral. You can cold call or whatever. He said, but the key is to have a system, put your head down and commit to it and do it consistently, and you cannot fail. You hear like the dropout rates of realtors and the failure rate of realtors. That comes from not committing to something. If you commit to something that's proven,
Mm.
you will be fine. Um,
I'm
yeah, and the
starting to
best
see.
on leadership, or being a team leader. Part of it comes from, I was an elementary school teacher before I was a realtor. So some of it comes from that. But Rob Marland in our office, he talks about with his team, he says, you need to be close enough to the team to be understood and have that personal connection, but you need to give just enough distance that you can still lead so that you can, yeah.
Right. Brilliant. And is there a mind hack you'd like to share with us that makes you more productive, faster, stronger?
It's not so much a hack, but for someone who wants to do repeat and referral business, I think client events are
Mhm.
wonderful. And the one that we have done that I think would work in pretty much anywhere in Canada is twice a year we do a tire change day. So this is yeah. So we
I
hire
love
a
it.
garage. You can look up on our YouTube because we have video of it being done, and it's not anything more complicated than what we show there on the video. We market it ahead of time. We send out an invitation to everybody in our database who is a past client, and we've got that garage booked for a whole morning, and we just have it in 15-minute slots, and we book a few bays. So usually we change somewhere between 50 and 70 past clients' tires, and we do a video to follow up, or like we do a video of the day that we share with everybody that we know, and we share it on social. But during the day, it's the what we get to do is that everybody's coming for their 15 minutes or like 20 minutes to bring their car, have it go up on the lift and come down. And in the meantime, we just get that nice little catch up with everyone during the day.
Love it. Most people don't like tire kickers. You love them. That's amazing. That's a sales joke. Nick, thanks so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed the conversation. Learned a lot.
Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me on, and it was wonderful to be here. I enjoyed this.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. And if you're looking for more tools, go to my website at nolimitselling.com. I've got a free mind training course there that's going to teach you some insights from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, and that is the fastest way to get better results.